Hello, good evening. Nice to meet you again in this beautiful day. And I forget this is how many I already make this kind of video, but it's still going, fortunately, and I feel glad for it. I feel proud for myself because I'm still make it until today, even though I pass for a few days, like probably 3 days. I did not make this kind of video at that moment, but yeah, I started today, and yesterday I make one video, but I don't upload yet in YouTube because I feel lazy. Actually I don't have many things to do, but just lying on my bed all days, and I'm not really uploaded into internet at the moment. And I also have a plan that actually I make several videos into my YouTube, as you can see. If you don't see, probably you have to look into it. Probably some interesting story that you want to find there into my channel. But if you don't, it's okay. Still, you can hear me. It is very lovely of you. Of course, yeah, there as I said, that I have a plan to, to make a new video again, because I don't make any for like almost half a year. Because when I was leaving from Natuna into here in Java, I don't make any video because I don't have much. I don't have many idea to do here. But today I think I want to explore more about Paris. Probably I can make several video on this, and I like to take a vacation to enjoy myself and looking into a place that probably interesting and attractive tourist place that probably I can share with people that beneficial for people, and that also very interesting because share this thing and then edit a video make me learn more about these fields, about about video and something like that. Become probably someday I can work into a company that focus on contents, become a content creator. So I have this portfolio when I going to apply this kind of job, or when I going to the interview, and this is very important. Yeah, I have a plan to walking into the cornfield, or probably in the sugar canes. Is very much here in Pare, and I also have a plan to go into a forest in this place. And probably when people interesting when they're going to the Pare and looking into the place, and they have a place that to enjoy they myself, because it's kind of hidden forest in the forest in the Pare. I went there one time, and it's very great, and it's very calm. It's very less crowded than this place. Even though Paris itself is very not really crowded place, but still many people here. And when you just want to be alone in the forest near here, you probably can go to the place that I recommended you, when I probably will make this kind of video and upload it in YouTube. But I don't want to share more about this plane because it's not really crucial, but I just thinking about it, but it's not really crucial at the moment, because I still need to focus on my course to translation lesson in the class. So it is my first thing to do, and then the second thing is probably to writing, and then other thing besides. And yeah, I a couple minutes ago I listens to the podcast from Luke Podcast. If you are very profound in English lesson, especially into British English with a British accent, you probably hear about this Luke's podcast, because he really focus on English, British English. And then when he talk with English is very clear and easy to understand, because he use daily conversation language, so it's very easy for us, not native speak English speaking, to understand what he's saying. And yeah, I'm heard this podcast regularly, mostly because I profound with his accent. It's very good, and for me, it's very nice to hear what he told about, because he not only talking about these English lessons, but mostly about culture and stories that probably like to introduce the British culture into the world, into his audience, like me and many other people who heard this podcast. And another podcast that I heard regularly is Jack to Fluency is very popular, but he actually rarely upload into podcast lately. I don't know really reason why. Probably because he most focused on his class, so he can don't have many time to make a podcast at the moment. So it's kind of there are not really something that going on in the podcast to fluency, but I still hear the podcast regularly. And to fluency also, you can find it in the YouTube, and a very interesting about daily life, because sometimes he this Jack talk about his experience when live in Spain and Britain. He's from Manchester, if I'm not mistaken. This Jack from Manchester. It is one of the big city in the UK, but he stayed in Spain for 2 years to teaching English there in Spain, in a Bilbao and other city, which is I forget. And then after that, he moved into US until today, and probably he worked there. I don't know what kind of work he to do, because I don't really I don't really interesting about what he going to do with his private life. But I guess it's my guess is probably he work that still related to English teaching, probably online into because he have this online class. Yeah, and the interesting about this two podcasts. I think why I listen this podcast regularly, because it's easy to listen, because they are easy to understand. They use very simple language, and they accents very bold with English accent. So, but I don't really think that I want to learn whether American or English or British accents, but I think it's more interesting to listen a British accent, because it feels that unusual. You know, when you look into the movie or a music, that probably more you hear about this American accent is kind of very usual English kind of English we learn every day. But when you listen for some part of a TV show or movie that come from British, and then they talk about, when they use their accent, it's very something that unique, and then you probably want to learn about this, because it's feel uncommon. This is, I think, I more prefer to British accents, because it feel uncommon here, especially in Indonesia, because here I think 1 out 10 people only to learn this British accent. Mostly people use American accent, because it's easier and at most common people talk with American, because Hollywood's about industry very popular even here in Indonesia. So I think because we very immersed in American culture, so we more easier for us to to learn the accents, because we hear it every day, whether in social media or in the song, in the kind of music, and then of course in the film, because many movie come from Hollywood, from America, and even though today at this moment I'm read some news from United States. It's kind of very depressing news, because it turns out that many artists, whether they writers or from writers or actor or actress, that they didn't get paid so well from the company, and then they're going to strike, like doing demonstrates, and then stop working, and then we don't really know how many this strike will be going on, but I think what they demands into the company fulfilled by the people who, like CEO or who have this company to pay decent bill, decent money for a people job, because that it is from what I heard about living in California. Living there very expensive, so I guess they pay, even though they make more lot of money than people here in Indonesia, still live not really easy for most people, because as we know that many homeless people live there in the United States, mostly in California. I think they're kind of in a crisis at the moment about this homeless thing. In Indonesia, in the big city, there are also homeless people, but it kind of rarely to hear about the news of homeless people. But the in the United States, in the California, it's kind of a cancer, because we hear about it every day, and it's very terrifying. And I think probably it's a very systematic problem, and they need to, going to the government to fix this problem, to make a better life condition into the people there in the California, in the like the big cities, whether in Los Angeles or San Diego, or whether San Diego in California, I'm not really sure, but yeah, probably there. Whether I'm not really sure. But I think I really know about Sacramento. Sacramento in California, right? Because I watched the movie Lady Bird, because this Lady Bird, the Christina, the woman, named himself as Lady Bird. I think why she named himself the Lady Bird, and why is the movie from this Greta Wick called Ladybirds, because it explains about woman, young adult, want to be free like a bird to fly. Because birds, as we know, when people pet the birds, they took the birds into the cave. It's not a cave, like a jail, not a jail. Yeah, you have you know what I mean, right? And then little birds, these ladybirds, want to free itself into the sky and get their freedom. And this is what Christina do. He want to stay away from this Sacramento city to into the East Coast in New York or probably Washington. And the reason why he say that, because he think that Sacramento is like midways of California. So I guess Sacramento is the city in California, and actually it's kind of popular too in the states. And I don't have any reason why this Sacramento city very popular. I think their popularity because related into conservative. Probably this is what I have impressions, because it's Sacramento, sacraments. But of course it's not really related, I guess. But it's really popular, and because we know that California kind of very liberal there in the U.S. Because they are very strong Republic Party there, and yeah, not Republic Party but Democrats in the California. So basically, it's very secular and liberal states in the U.S. And then there are many other cities that I know in the US. The Seattle, very interesting name. I think it's a big city too, the Seattle. And then there are Houston, Austin, and then also Washington and New York. I think probably everyone know this. New Jersey. I think New Jersey is states or probably a city. I more think that New Jersey is a state like New York, but like New York, in New York there are many places like Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan's, and probably Long Island. Whether it's Long Island, it's really like district in New York. I don't really sure. Okay, I think I don't want to talk more about this United States, because we understand more about this country than other country, because we listen, because we watch very many videos and film from the United States, so we kind of very familiar with it. I think when it comes to US, it's very have the stereotype in people in US that they know about a world map or about geography, because in the US they rarely listens or watch a movie come from overseas. Even though when they watch a movie, probably mostly about in Latin American like Brazil, Argentina, or their neighbors country like Canada or Mexican, or in Europe, their related cousins like English and German and France, but rarely about another country like Indonesia. Probably they mostly people there don't really know about Indonesia and whether Indonesia exists or not in the world. But yeah, it's still what is interesting about we live in the corner of the world because we cannot understand more about people live overseas because we hear many culture about them like in the UK that we know there is United Kingdom and that part of it assemble of many kingdom like England, Wales, and then Scotland, and then North Island. I'm not really sure whether North Island is a kingdom or only territory of England. But yeah, North Island is part of this UK, United Kingdom, and also many territory of the UK. And then we also know many city in Spain like Spain like Barcelona, Madrid or Bilbao. And then when I come to France like Paris, um, Lyons, Bordeaux. I'm not really sure how to spell to say it for Bordeaux, Marseille. And then Italy, there are many very popular city there in the Italy like Napoli, Roma, Torino, because you know Eurovision, if I'm not mistaken, held in Torino a few years ago, and last year in Glasgow in UK, in Glasgow it is in Scotland. No, not in Glasgow, in Liverpool, I guess, in the Liverpool. And then for next year in the Sweden, because the Sweden won this year about this Eurovision thing. Even though I'm not really enjoy the song Tattoo from Sweden, I more prefer a song from Norway. I think it's very outstanding song. And then I also enjoy song from many other country like Estonia is quite interesting. Yeah, it is. But yeah, the song that Australia also very nice song. You know about Alan Popo. Probably you heard about it. It's very interesting song, even though it's not very high range. And then Britain, UK also have a nice song, but it's the second last, and I don't know why people very hate UK in the Europe, not probably because of Brexit, but I don't know. It's just that people don't want to. Not really because of Brexit, I guess, because Germany almost every year in the last place. Like last year, they also in the last year, even though the song is kind of great. I more prefer German song than Finland's. I not really like a Finland song last year, but of course, it's only my opinions. Everyone have their different sense about the music. It's make it great, right? Yeah. This day I bought many stuff. It's kind of thing consumerism very immersed into my daily life, and I want to stop to buy things. I guess because I spent a lot of money for a couple of days, and I think for myself that it's enough, and I don't want to buy it. The problem is because when you buy one thing and then you tend to buy another thing. Like example, when I bought spices a few days ago, and then when I go into to the market and look into the glass, oh, it's very nice to make a warm, hot, spices herbal into the glass, and then I can drink with it. Even though I already have a glass, but I want the glass more expensive. And then I also needs not only a glass but like a thermos that can keep warm herbal warm for a day, and then I bought it, and then I need to to kettle to warm this thing, and then also I need a brown sugar to make it become sweet, this herbal, because we know that palm sugar is which is brown sugar, healthier than than white sugar or cane sugar. So I bought it, even though it kind of more expensive, but it's no problem because it's for health, right? But still, if I don't box this, I didn't buy this many spices to make a herbal thing. I then spend most of my money for it, but I already did. And what I want to do is just to stop doing the same mistake anymore and stop buying, and then just appreciate what I have. And I because I like minimalist life, to make my room become empty. When I have a host some days, I hope that I will have a host someday, and that my dream host must be small, but it will have don't have many things, so I don't really need to waste my time to take care many things, to carrying stuff in my place, my host. So life become easier when I come to minimalist, right? Okay, I think that's all what I want to share today about my life, but mostly about what I thought today. Not only about what I doing in market about buying stuff, but mostly about culture, about American, I guess, even though some part of Europe, and of course, it's very interesting to talk about geographically. But I wonder why, when it comes to talking, people, not only myself, mostly talk about US and Europe. I think it's because media mostly come from these continents. So we when we listen to when we read a book or read many stories, mostly they come from this region, from Europe or North American. But I think the things a little bit changed today because here in Indonesia, I can say that the young people more interesting about South Asian nations than Europe or North American nowadays, because even though they still dominate about culture, American and European culture still dominate here in Indonesia, but there are strong will for young people to learn about more about ASEAN nations like our neighbors, Vietnam and Thailand and others, among others. And that's very interesting to looking shape of the culture, because we not really you not really immerse ourselves in Western culture anymore, because we live more diverse nowadays, because some people just very profound about Korean, others very live in this animal culture of Japan, and the others just very interesting about Chinese culture. Mostly people in the business very profound about to learn Mandarin, because many Chinese doing business here in Indonesia. I have a friend that learn Mandarin because he want to work in a Chinese company. And then also many people like my teacher learn and also like my teacher learn Vietnamese because he want to work in a Vietnam as teacher there. It's very interesting. Like some of my family learn or I'm from Malayu, so they don't really need to learn about Malayu language to work there in Malaysia. And then, yeah, the bottom line is there are many people in my generation or under my age want to understand more about ASEAN culture, because our governments push that young people more to immerse themselves into this ASEAN culture, because there are many we are many synergy work together between Indonesia and other ASEAN nation right now. Yeah, even though we some have a problem with each other, like Indonesia and Malaysia, they not really hate each other, but they kind of bully each other. But yeah, it's fun between neighbor, because it's happened so often between the nation. If you see that Japan and Chinese and Korea, they never really stick together, right? And for Indonesia, we are really in a peaceful term, because we can work together and make us ASEAN. ASEAN is Association of South Asian Nations. They're very strong and powerful bonding in this country, in the ASEANs, and about 11 countries right now, including Timor-Leste. And that's all what I want to share with you, and thank you for watching me in this evening, and I want to say bye bye.